Hello, my name is Ilona and today is Thursday, January 9th, 2025 and I had to adjust. There were problems with my router and I will talk a little bit about that at the end of the video. It's more personal, so I do understand that not everyone is interested in that. Anyway, in this video, I want to talk about, first of all, a few things I think very interesting. The first one was a clip I shared on my Telegram channel from the Dalai Lama. And this was also connected to the earthquake that happened in Tibet. That was at 10 kilometers, which is very interesting because that's usually the point where there are like underground things happening there, tunnels. And we also know, of course, that there's a lot of influence from a certain agency from America. It starts with a C, they've got an I, and they also have an A that is connected to Tibet, and also started schools there that were like similar to Catholic schools. So I'm sure a lot of people will understand what I'm talking about, and a lot of things happening there, awful things happening there. And I do believe that there are cleansing things now, and also things with Dalai Lama are going to come out. We also have seen, at least I think a year or maybe 2 years ago, I'm not sure, there was like this clip with him with a child, which was very strange with his tongue, and it was a very strange clip. But I do believe that things are turning there or changing there, and I think that the Dalai Lama is similar to the Pope, that this is 2.0, 3.0, something like that. But in this clip, there was someone doing the interview, a woman. She was asking him about refugees and that people from the Middle East or Afghanistan, you know, the people from those countries should be able to go to Europe and live there. And he was more like, no. It's very interesting to see. He said like, well, then a European country could turn into a Muslim country. No, it's not good. They should stay in their own country in a way. That's actually what he was talking about, that it wouldn't be good if a completely, a European country would change into something else. And she was a bit confused, obviously, and then she mentioned, well, you are, a refugee yourself, and then she started talking about her personal life in a way. She mentioned that her parents were from India and they moved to the United Kingdom. And she was like, well, people from India should be able to move over there. How do you feel about that? And he was like, England is a very small country. If 90% becomes, comes from India, it's not good. And he was like, do this to her. And I think she was completely baffled and puzzled. So I think that's pretty based from the Dalai Lama, that he's not a big fan suddenly of those things. It's very interesting to see. Another change of mind apparently, or a change in tune, is Mark Zuckerberg, that apparently wants to change the policies concerning Meta or Facebook, how you want to call it. And then suddenly conservatives will have more of a voice there as well. So all those fact checkers, mainly based in California with, of course, a certain ideology, are not really appreciated anymore. And certain way of thinking about things are now more open, and people won't be, that you're blocked or certain posts will be taken away anymore. That is very, very interesting to me. So I think a lot of changes are happening. It of course started already with Elon Musk taking over X, and that opened up a lot of things. But I believe, and this is how I see it, this is my perspective, that things are really changing and we're starting to see those white hat influences. I do believe that people of course have a different perspective on this as well, but this is my perspective. I thought that was very, very interesting. So there's going to be more free speech on Facebook. Who would have thought that one? That's very, very interesting. The thing I want to take a look at first in this video has to do with Mr. T, who showed something, and this is a clip actually from Jeffrey Sachs, talking about, very interesting that he's sharing this about the America and Israel, and especially the group of people behind Netanyahu, the influences there, how much they have pushed things there and all the wars, and they were actually behind it. It had to do with Iraq and what's going on with Iran. And really, it's very, very interesting that Mr. T is sharing that. I know, again, the different perspective. A lot of people believe that Mr. T is from the dark side and he's completely connected with this group, of course, which is part of Netanyahu's as well. And I think this is actually showing, I believe, that he's playing chess, so he cannot openly talk about everything yet connected with Israel and the group of influences. So that's not entirely Israel. I believe there's this influences separate from the people living there, and a lot of people in Israel, they don't want to have anything to do with that either, the policies and how things working there so far for decades, of course, with Netanyahu, you know, making sure there's chaos and war there. So it's interesting that he's sharing this and showing this to people to start connecting the dots that the American have been used with politics and with media, and how do we bring this to people to, you know, sell a war, essentially. That's what they've been doing. That's what he's talking about in this clip. And I've shared it all on Telegram. I thought it was very, very interesting, and to me this shows what Mr. T's real position is. But I just wanted to take a look with the cards as well. I've got the 10 of Pentacles as the first card, influence. Then this is the central card, that's the 10 of Wands. We've got the 4 of Cups in the past. We have the Devil underneath as an influence on the 10 of Wands. So both the 10 of Pentacles and the Devil are influencing the 10 of Wands. And then for the future, we have the King of Pentacles and the 2 of Pentacles. So to me, this feels like he is actually showing the status quo, what's been going on there for a very long time, showing that people are being dragged in this, that the American people are dragged into wars. They shouldn't be in there, shouldn't be in, you know, the war shouldn't have started, like with Iraq. He mentions, the person talking in the clip, that they actually used like these surveys to see what would be the best way to drag the American people in. What would they respond to? And of course they used certain weapons that apparently in Iraq they had certain weapons. So we have to take care of that. And ultimately there were no weapons. Although I'm sure there's still some people in America or worldwide believe that they were, because that's the media and that's the politics and that's how well it worked, unfortunately. But this is really showing the influences, what is going on. We've been used in all kinds of ways, suppressed in all kinds of ways by this influence to get things done. And I think he's showing that with this clip, that Mr. T is obviously not part of that and really wants to expose that. It's of course, like I always say, follow your own belief system in that, what resonates with you or not. I see that the King of Pentacles, he has a plan, and ultimately he will bring balance in that area. But this is all part of his plan to expose things, to show people in America, but also worldwide, how things are all connected. Because ultimately, if the Americans, you know, start something, usually Europe follows along. They're all connected in their way. It all has to do with this club, with these dark energies, all connecting, all making sure that their agendas are being pushed through. What they have in mind will, in that way. So far, they've tried, how do you say this? What they had in mind, they managed to put all these people, all these puppets in positions and use that to get what they want. And that is what he's showing by sharing this, that this is going to fall apart, this status quo. It's not valuable or viable anymore. It's not working anymore, and I don't think he is part of that, because ultimately, why would you show this if you're not part of that anymore? Or if you're part of that, I mean. So the King of Pentacles, he has a plan, and he is ultimately going to bring balance in that region and what's going on there. And I think that is very important. So I wanted to share that as well. And it's very interesting, the cards showing that as well, though. So that's what it seems to me. That's what he's doing. The second thing I want to take a look at, and I thought it was very interesting in my card reading, obviously I shuffled the cards in my Dutch video, if you want to see that. And this is about the fires in Los Angeles, or in California. Hollywood is burning. These are the cards I've got. We've got the Six of Wands, we've got the central card, the High Priestess, and another influence that is the Ace of Cups. We've got the, the Eight of Pentacles in the past, and we have the Two of Pentacles and the Three of Swords for the future. I find this very interesting. This is like a victory in a way, and I know it sounds very strange to a lot of people, but I do believe this has to do with the cleansing. We know, especially in Hollywood and in that area, a lot of things have happened. A lot of horrible things have happened. Dark energy, manipulation, things with children, and that's now being cleared. At least that's how I see it. I see like a new beginning. I see the High Priestess, to me, feels like the veil is being lifted. Secrets are going to come out. I think what's been hidden is going to be now brought to light. And I understand that this is very, very intense, very deep level. My heart goes out to the people that are, of course, in that area facing these things. But I understand that sometimes things need to happen for other things to be brought into, into balance again. There is so much old pain going on there as well. So it wouldn't surprise me if it's like a mixed with white hats, black hats, but that the black hats will, exaggerate it even more. But this is about cleansing to me, and feel free of obviously always see what resonates with you. But this feels like a really cleaning up there. And not only that, also things connected with politicians there are now coming out. The firefighters there, apparently they had like things left over, and they're like, oh, we'll bring it to the Ukraine. So that's coming out now as well. That they haven't been really caring very much for the people there. It leaves open more criticism of the person in charge there. Of course, Newsom is now really facing some real backlash, or a lot of criticism of what he's doing there. A lot of funds were being cut for the fire department. It's really showing what's been going on, and I do believe a lot of people are going to wake up because of this as well. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, including myself, you need to be pushed out of the comfort zone before you start to realize. But this area has been affected with a lot of dark energy, a lot of old pain, and that's being balanced right now. That's being put into balance. Ultimately, it will be restored again, the balance there. So that's what I'm sensing with this. That's why I believe the Six of Wands, that this ultimately will lead to other things and will actually be good in the end. Unfortunately, it is very horrible. And like I said, my heart goes out to everyone who has to deal with what's going on there. So I'd like to leave it at this. I hope to see you in another video. Bye. I'm sorry, I think I forgot to mention and talk about my router. I'm not sure, I'm sorry, I'm a bit tired, and I'll explain it to you. I had some issues with my router, and let's just say they did an update. They do that here in the Netherlands at night. So I woke up on Wednesday morning and suddenly I had some issues with my internet, and I had issues with using my phone. And I still have a mobile. So I contacted the company, obviously, and I was talking. It took me about 30 minutes, maybe even longer, 45 minutes. And we tried all kinds of things to get it working, and ultimately later on in the day the internet started functioning fine, but I still couldn't call or receive calls from my landline. And I do use it, so it was very exhausting. So I just left it kind of on Tuesday, because on Wednesday, I've talking to this person trying to help me. So this morning's Thursday, I still couldn't call or talk, that someone could call me. So I again contacted them. Another, I think, half an hour reset. I had to push a little tiny, teeny button, and it reset again. And again, when we tried calling, it was a disaster. I heard on the line, so it wasn't working. So he was going to send someone to my home, but again, I had to agree to that because if there were costs involved and it was if they found out it could have been my issue, then I had to pay for it. It was a thing, and I don't like people in my home, so I was already exhausted and tired, and it consumes so much of your energy. So I made the appointment. I, of course, finished the phone call. I have to say, very friendly people. They really tried to help me, both yesterday, someone helped me, and today. But it was just exhausted. And then suddenly, after 10 minutes, I was just sitting there. I was like, you know what? Why don't I just pull the plug out one more time? We've tried this many, many times, but this was after this extreme reset with that little tiny button that I had to push, which I hadn't done yesterday. So I was like, okay, just one more time, and then I plugged it in again, and suddenly it worked. So obviously I had to cancel my appointment with the person that's supposed to come by tomorrow afternoon. Well, I finished that, and then I was just sitting there, I was just exhausted. So I'm not sure if you have experience like that it's so exhausting to call. It is customer service. You sometimes have to wait in line before you get through. And here in the Netherlands and probably worldwide, I don't know, then it's very difficult to get someone, actually a person on the other side. And sometimes you get a bot. And sometimes you just only have chat, which I find very annoying, especially when you really want to explain something. It just doesn't go over very well with chat. It takes a long time to explain things. I prefer talking to someone. But in this case, it was quite easy to get someone on the phone. So I really appreciate that. Although before I got someone, you're waiting in line. That took some time. But I have to say that was just exhausting. But right now everything is turned back to normal with my router. So I'm very happy with that. And now I can use my phone again and the internet is fine. But it's very exhausting, and it was just it surprises me that how much energy it costs. And you don't even realize that, because ultimately it may be less an hour, hour and a half. But it's just thinking about it, wondering what you can do. And then, of course, in my case, I had to, let someone in my house. But that was for tomorrow afternoon. Luckily, that doesn't have to happen now. But it's just, it was just an exhausting thing. But everything is fine with my router. And I just wanted to mention it for people that wanted to know about that. Bye.